What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/IDoWorkHereLady. This story's called Customers Don't Believe I'm the Manager. End up having to get their drinks somewhere else. Not sure if this belongs here, but I do hope you enjoy my story. Many years ago, I used to work at a pub. I loved working in bars and such until I got better paid jobs in the industry I trained in, computer services and account management. So a bit of background info. I was 21 at the time and hadn't been working at this pub all that long. I'd gotten the job after leaving a reputable brand after too many crappy and unenjoyable days at work. The pay was good, but I just wasn't enjoying it anymore. I'd only been working at the new bar 2 weeks when I was offered the position of the live-in manager by the owner. I wasn't expecting this, and just expecting to work behind the bar and tend to tables. I didn't even realize the position was open. He explained to me that I was the only member of the staff who had shown that I could work independently and worked harder than most of the other employees. I take the promotion, thinking all was well. Turns out, some of the other staff didn't like this, as a couple of them had been after the job themselves, whereas I had previous experience managing teams for my previous employer. It made me the better choice. Me becoming the new manager didn't go down well with the staff, and indeed some of the customers. I would also point out at this point that I'm a gay man and was open about my sexuality. But some customers weren't happy about being served by a homosexual. Things were difficult for the next couple of weeks, but things soon calmed down. The previously annoyed staff eventually got over the fact that I was now their boss, and the customers that had a real issue with being served gay drinks eventually stopped coming, or just kept their opinions to themselves, as I would tend to defend myself when I was confronted by any of them. The pub initially had a bad reputation, mostly caused by some of the customers that would drink there getting up to no good, displaying threatening behavior, and dealing drugs on the premises. I would go on to change this reputation by banning people with bad intentions. I had zero tolerance for that kind of behavior. Eventually, the pub became a nice, relaxed place to drink, and you wouldn't have to worry about getting mixed up in anything if you were just popping in for a pint. Things were going well. There's a story relating to this which involves someone being escorted off the premises by the police. Let me know if you want to hear it. A couple of months into the job, I had eventually adopted a no-nonsense frame of mind when it came to customers causing issues, as I would always stand up for my staff if they had done nothing wrong. To me, making sure my staff were comfortable and happy meant as much as making sure the customers were comfortable and happy. One Saturday night, things were going on as normal, pretty busy, but good. I had 2 members of staff working behind the bar with me and another tending to tables. We all used to swap between work in the bar and tending to tables fairly regularly, as it broke up the night and meant that there wasn't just one person stuck running food and collecting glasses. In comes a group of 3. I had seen them in here a couple of times before, 2 guys and a girl. For the beginning of the night, they were nice, respectable customers. As it gets later, I usually leave serving drinks to my staff and keep to the customer area. This was because of the things we had going on there before. This way, I can keep an eye on the customers and my staff. The pub was fairly large, so you couldn't see all the goings-on from the bar. What I hadn't realized was the before-mentioned group of 3 were being quite rude to the staff. My staff were fantastic when it came to dealing with rude customers. Usually they could sort things out themselves, so it came as a surprise to me when one of my staff came and found me and explained that neither they nor any of my other staff were comfortable serving the group of 3. When I asked them why, all 3 girls explained that the 2 men had been hitting on them and making lewd comments. Unfortunately, this is pretty normal when working behind a bar, and my staff had developed a thick skin, so they must have been particularly rude for my staff to refuse to serve them. I give the group the benefit of the doubt, asking the girls to keep serving them and changed places with one of them so I can keep an eye on things more closely. These guys were utter pigs, constantly making sexual comments to the girls, describing what they would do with them, if only they are given the chance, repeatedly asking them what they were doing later, making pass after pass after pass at the girls, just generally making everyone uncomfortable. The girls eventually had enough and would not serve them, and I don't blame them. I go over the group and explain to them that their behavior was not tolerated and we would not serve them any more drinks, so it's probably best for everyone if they move on and drink somewhere else tonight. Unsurprisingly, they don't like this and get pretty mad. The following exchange went something like this. It may not be completely accurate, but I'll try to do it justice. And here's the cast. Them is them, me is, well, obviously me, and Paul is the name of the owner who I worked for. Paul's not his real name, but just needed one for the story. Obligatory identity protection.
What the fuck do you mean you're not serving us? We're paying customers.
Sorry guys, but I've had complaints from the girls working tonight and none of them is comfortable serving you. So I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
You can't do that. We know the manager. Go get him. I want to be served.
It's probably worth mentioning that when they asked for the manager, I knew exactly who they were referring to. My boss, the owner, but he wasn't in and I was the only manager. Sorry guys, but actually I'm the manager and I'm telling you that we're not serving you anymore, so it's probably best if you leave.
You're not the fucking manager. Paul is. Go get him. I'll have you fired for this.
I explained to them in their drunken state as best I can that Paul was in fact the owner and I worked for him as the manager. They weren't buying it. The argument goes on for some time when who should walk in? Paul! He'd been out having some drinks with friends and was in no mood to deal with annoying customers. He just wanted to have a couple more drinks and socialize with his guests before calling it a night and going to bed. As he walks in, they rush straight over to him saying that I was being rude to them and pretending to be the manager and that I should be fired for treating them so badly. He looks at me. I explained to him that the guys had been being rude to the girls behind the bar all night and they didn't want to serve him anymore. And because of that, I wasn't serving them either. Paul, obviously annoyed and a little drunk, just looks at them and says,
"Well, he is the manager. I guess you're not getting any drinks," and walks away.
The group looks so confused for a moment. I just stood there with a big grin on my face. They eventually tried to apologize in hopes I'd give in and forgive them, but I stood my ground. Nobody treats my staff like that. They try sending the girl in their group up to the bar a couple of times, but I knew who she was and refused to serve her as I didn't want these guys in here anymore. She tried a couple of times with the other staff, but I'd already instructed them to refuse her service. Eventually, they realize they're not getting any more drinks and leave. Wow, so a while back I was saying how I want there to be like an establishment, like a diner I think I said, where the manager and staff just don't tolerate that kind of behavior from people, and if someone acts like an entitled jerk or just a pervert or something, then they could just get kicked out without worrying about losing their business or whatever, because we don't want business from those types of people. And this guy, he's got it. If you're sending the message that people like that aren't welcome, decent people who appreciate that kind of thing will come in and they will become regulars, I guarantee it. Because they're not fake, you don't have to worry about getting your food spit in, because if you're a jerk, they'll let you know. You know where you stand with these people. If you have a place like that, let me know and I will tattoo the name on my body. I'm kidding, I won't do that, but I will probably check it out if I ever get the chance to. And if I get the chance to be a regular, I will definitely do that, if the food's good. Alright, this story's called, which of the two letters of EX in X student you don't understand? Firstly, sorry for so long introduction. When I was in middle school, or junior high school as some people name it, I started being interested in information technology, or IT, computers and building them. So I established quite a friendship with our IT teacher. Let's call him Barry, who was about 30 years old, so we understood each other quite well. Also, I have very good memory, so I was one of the best students in school. This wasn't the best school in the country, but still, it was an achievement with totally no learning. and I had a lovely older lady as a classroom teacher, the one who took care of us and contacted the parents. So most of the teachers had very good relations with me, including the head teacher. A week before the lockdown, because of the Modelo, I was asked by Barry if I wanted to earn some extra money by helping him with modernizing the IT room. I asked if the head approved. He said yes, so I came. Work turned out to be pretty easy, changing some components in PCs, adding a new switch and a few other things, which we could make in about 10 to 12 hours. I asked him how everybody was. Turned out there was a new PE teacher, and also said there was some party for everyone later this day so I can meet with the rest of the staff later if I want. Near the end of today's job, he went to do something with the head's computer, a 50 to 60-year-old lady who didn't know much and clicked something she didn't want. So I was alone in the IT room, right now, changing RAM sticks and hard drives. Barry said that he didn't need the drives, so I can have as many as I want. I love to have lots of space for data, so I decided to take some. As I was disassembling them, I was packing them straight to my backpack because they were already wiped. As I'm working on the teacher's computer, which was slightly better and needed more work, I take the drive and put it in a box and head to my backpack. After doing about 15 computers previously, so there was a few parts already there, when I hear someone shout,
"What are you doing here? Return to your class immediately!"
Parties were only for one class in their usual classrooms. He turned out to be the new PE teacher, so I'll call him Pete further on. Well, he interrupts me.
"You fuck!"
I didn't say it.
"Thief! Stop stealing the computer!"
He walks closer and looks in my open backpack.
"Oh, no. You've taken this too far, you fucking thief. I'll get you expelled immediately and I will call the police."
I work here. Pete interrupts me again.
"I know you're one of the students. What is your class?"
Little note. There were photos of those who graduated on the corridor galleries, and there was a bigger photo of me and my classroom teacher as the best of the year, so he might have seen me there. I am an ex-student. There's a picture of me on the wall. I work here today. Pete grabs me by my hand, even though I have some muscles. It was quite strong and left me a bruise.
"I'm taking you to the head teacher right now, and the police will take care of you, you fucking thief."
Don't know why he liked that phrase so much.
What in God's name are you doing, Pete?
It turned out my ex-classroom teacher had a class next door and was attracted by his screeching. I'll call her Cutie from now on. I know it's classroom teacher, but it looks like Cutie.
"I found this thief who skipped class."
Parties were not mandatory, so
"And is robbing the IT room."
Sweet Jesus, OP, are you okay? Pete, let him go right now.
"I am taking this freaking thief to the head and calling the police."
Pete, I am going to call the police for him, not on him. Let go of him now.
What the hell is going on here? Turns out Barry was returning from head teacher's office with her to show her that I am doing a pretty good job and to talk some when they saw us at the corridor.
Pete, let go of this young man.
"But head teacher, he was stealing school's goods."
Pete, this is OP, ex-student of us from a few years ago, and he is our temporary worker in IT room's modernization. Also, I think you've become temporary today.
After Pete let go of me, I went to meet the teachers faster and finish the job later. Cops were called and head teacher showed the footage from the camera in IT room. Pete left in handcuffs. He got fired the next day and denied working with kids for the assault in the school area. I finished my job and got some cake for this hilarious situation. Next PE teacher turned out to be normal and friendly. He got hired the next day because old PE teacher recommended him and he didn't have a job at the time. Well, that worked out pretty well in the end. Someone got a PE teacher job, which is a potential to be a really cool job if you're a really cool person. Personally, I think I'd be a pretty good PE teacher because I hold an appreciation for all those games like Capture the Flag, Sharks and Minnows, Dodgeball. That's a pretty sick deal if your school lets you take spare parts home. That would be pretty good. Except school hardware is usually pretty bad. Alright, this story's called Entitled Mother Doesn't Know I'm the CEO's Son. So, this is my first Reddit post, so I hope you enjoy it. So, my mom is the CEO of a retail chain, and my dad is second in command. Oh, did I mention that we're black? This will be important for later. So, it is Saturday, and my mom told me to come to her work just to see what she does. She just wanted some free labor, but I comply because I've only been in there once. There I was, sitting in her office, and I ask if I can walk around the office, and of course, she allows me. I get down to the first floor. That's when I saw her. Entitled Mother. She was a white, middle-aged lady with a Karen cut and all. I later learned that she was applying for a job. I see her giving the front desk lady a hard time, so I step in as she was a good friend of my mom, so I consider her an aunt. She is already speaking as if she's the manager. This is how the dialogue went. Good morning, ma'am. Can I help you with anything? Auntie says.
Hey, she's asking for...
She gets cut off.
I'm in charge here. I'm the CEO's daughter. My dad is the CEO.
Oh, really? You're the CEO's daughter?
Yes, I am. And why are you here?
I work here, in a way.
Actually, he's the...
I cut her off. I'm just a kid walking around the office.
Well, get out, little brat.
I started to get pissed, but I kept it in. Okay then, what's your father's name?
It's not like a little monkey like you will remember with that tiny brain of yours.
Now I'm really starting to lose it. My dad walks in.
Who are you?
I'm the manager. Now, my dad could pass as a white male on a bright enough day, and today was that day.
Good, this young man attempted to assault and steal from me.
In the middle of the day, with cameras everywhere, I say sarcastically. Dad, realizing what's going on, winked at me. I thought I told you to stop stealing from ladies, son. Entitled Mother is shocked and screaming the lovely phrase we all know and hate.
I want the manager.
He's right here.
Well, call the CEO.
Gladly. We exchange glances and try to hold in our laughter. A few minutes later, the CEO walks in.
Is there a problem? Yes, this child is trying to assault me. Aren't you the one applying for the job? I just looked over your resume. And what do you think? You were perfect for the job, but my camera showed different from your recommendation. What?
Basically, you're fired. Bye-bye.
Shut up, you little brat. Don't speak to my son like that. Your son?
Now, see you later, Karen. We never saw her again. Well, that was interesting. It's not very common that you see someone claiming to be the CEO's daughter as a middle-aged woman, but Karens are Karenters. That was so bad, I'm sorry. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.